Okay, and we're go. Welcome to Pros on Cons. It's a brand new video podcast series, I hope. Basically, yeah, Pros on Cons. It's a misnomer, but it's catchy, and I like it. And we're not pros. We're not gonna talk just about cons, but we're gonna talk about conventions, local events in the Nashville area, and basically we're just gonna get together and talk about geek-centric events that we're gonna go to anyway. And we're gonna grab some NGL folks, and we're gonna grab sometimes people from the con, and so that's the idea / premise of the show. And I'm gonna intro people. So for my first guest is Party Jack.
Hello.
And so you go for the party.
I go for the party.
So he's our nightlife connoisseur when it comes to cons. Also from NGL we have Sed Lanas.
What's up? I go and try to videotape. That's what I try to do.
Right. So you kind of you'll know what cosplays were there and stuff like that, right?
What was that? Cosplays are.
I said you'll know what kind of cosplays are at cons and things like that.
Yeah, there were some really cool ones that I've seen at some cons. Yeah, I've seen some really good ones.
Yeah. Okay. And then also, last but not least, we have a special guest for this, our premiere live show, Scary Thing. And he was also a special guest at the last con, which we're going to talk about, which is AkaiCon. And I'm just going to let you introduce yourself, since you've been doing this way longer than me.
Hey guys, I'm Richie Roberts from the Fairy Tale Podcast, and basically my job at conventions is to bring the chaos. Which we do really well, by the way. But no, we do panels. We also cover as press. Like, there's so much stuff that we do at cons. The cosplayers, there was just so much that we did at AkaiCon. It's like crazy to kind of sum up. But yeah, we did lots of things and brought chaos. It's the most accurate description I think I could possibly give. And I cleaned my house just for the show.
Aww.
Which now that I realize the camera only shows this much of the house because I'm used to using the other camera, it was for
your ceiling looks
nothing.
Really clean.
I know. You should have seen it. I had like a mop, and I was just like.
Awesome. So, yeah. So we picked up Richie at AkaiCon and made super con BFFs and snagged him for this first episode.
I love that description too. Like y'all picked me up. Yeah, introducing my new boyfriend and girlfriend. You know, they picked me up.
Yeah, I did just sort of snatch you. I just sort of glomped you and decided I was taking you with me where I went.
Basically, what happened was she like wrapped her arms around and was like, she was like, "This shall be mine. He shall be my squishy. This is my squishy, and he will be mine, and I will love him and pet him and squeeze him and call him George." It was a very Looney Tunes-esque moment. Yeah.
I have those. Mm-hmm. So first I wanted to, first thing that I have on here is location. So, which I thought the hotel was great, but I may have received a little nepotism. I may be a little clouded.
Also, you didn't have a room there.
Yeah, I didn't stay there. So, Sed, what did you think of the location for AkaiCon?
They were there last year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they were also there last year. I think I'm not 100% sure on this. I thought MTAC or maybe it was GMX used to go to that same hotel.
It was GMX, yeah.
It was GMX.
That's true. Yeah, GMX was there at one point.
I guess it's an alright spot. I know it is kind of small. There's only that small half of the building for a whole convention. For this year's AkaiCon though, I thought it was alright. Maybe it wasn't the best sized location for a con, but maybe since it's only its second year, I guess that makes sense in that regard. But I did think the game room that was on the 10th floor, I thought that was pretty cool. They did well with the game room.
That was really neat, yeah.
Mm-hmm. That was the only place I did not visit. That was it. It was just
you didn't visit? Room. It was like a whole floor.
I know. Oh, there was more than just me there from the podcast, so I've heard many stories already. But yeah, that was the only place I didn't get a chance to visit.
Dominic's Jack's pressing buttons, and that's never a good thing. Captain Jack.
Oh, just wait till I introduce you to the soundboard, sir. That's when it will get fun. When you realize
This is scary. I need a camera person to run all this stuff for me. That's what I need. So people staying at the hotel, I guess, had some issues with rooms, but space-wise, it was as big as where MTAC was this year.
Close. I would say close.
But we're not even talking about MTAC.
Yeah, that was back in April, was it? I think the late.
I blocked the whole thing out.
Was it April?
I don't remember. MTAC, yeah, it's March, I guess, this year, Easter time.
I think MTAC was roughly the same size, maybe just a little bit bigger, but it probably seemed smaller because there was 3 times as many people that went to MTAC this year or tried to go. It was packed. That's what I remember.
Yeah, it was.
It was
3,000 people or something.
Yeah, it was big.
Nice, it's got the shades now.
Very nice. Okay, so cosplays. It was an AnimeCon, which AnimeCons in Nashville are amazing for the amount of work and just everything that goes into these amazing cosplays these people wear. Sed, did you see any really good cosplays?
Did you for AnimeCon or for AkaiCon specifically? I'm sorry.
AkaiCon specifically, yeah.
Let's see. There was. My brain's farting. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I know, it was a really long time ago. Ideally, I would like to do this like the next day.
I feel like you should ask Richie because he's hanging out.
I don't know what he's doing over there, honestly. Like, I never know what he's doing ever. Richie saw Lucy Pool. I know he was excited about that. You're so grounded.
Oh.
I'm
not hearing. Yeah. Is that just me? Or?
I don't know. Richie, we lost your sound, sweetheart. He's having mic issues. Oh.
That's unpleasant.
Oh, that's.
So this is the test episode.
Sponsored by this podcast. This video is sponsored by
Aliens?
Aliens, that's aliens. I'm pretty sure that's aliens. I don't know what that sound is. That sounds like aliens.
Oh no, what's happening?
Alright, well.
I don't know.
I gotta get torchwood and
hello.
involved. That's pretty ugly sound there.
Hello, I can hear Richie now.
Hello.
Hello? Okay. Are we back? That was our commercial break.
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't.
No, it wasn't.
These are the things
I
that
love
happen
that
once you
all
go
of us.
live.
Okay. So we were talking about cosplays. Richie saw Master Bob and a Lucy Pool that really excited him. I know that.
I was super happy with that. Okay, so just really quickly, can I just state that they did a lot better this year than they did the first year? Like, the attendance and everything was so much better. Basically, how do you sum up? This is more or less how I sum up year 2, as opposed to year 1. That was basically it, right there. They made a lot more money. Yeah. By the way, I now have the soundboard, so Jack, I'm just telling you right now, I have found all the stuff you could possibly want now. That's like
too many buttons.
Oh no, who's at the door? Yeah, but but the best part is they get all this too. So I wanted to talk about the hotel first, but I didn't know if you were skipping me on the hotel part.
No, your sound was weird or something. But yeah, no, go ahead, absolutely.
My mic just decided it wanted to be a butthead, so that's what it was. Which is funny because it works just fine when I do my show. I don't know why. The hotel was kind of a weird thing because when we got there, we didn't have a room. There were a lot of room issues with staff and such. Like there were staffers that like didn't have their rooms. They'd been grabbed up by someone else or something. Like there was a lot of confusion with the hotel about that. So we didn't actually have a room. So just a big thank you to the con chair Devin for just basically giving us his room, so that we'd have. So thank you, Devin. Thank you very much. Yeah, big. Yeah, I love using this thing because I never get a chance to use it. Don't judge me.
That's another thing that I want to talk about though, was that I felt like any issues that happened at this con were handled pretty well and really, really quickly, which is
usually by either the staff of the hotel or the staff of the convention. They managed to get a lot of it fixed pretty quickly, so that was definitely a nice thing. So, yeah.
Now, Sed, you were there last year. How do you think that this year compared to last year?
There was more to do. I remember last year the number of panels and events in general was not as much. It was empty on the first night on the floor. I do remember that. There was almost no one there the first night.
The way the panels were organized, too, as far as like what panels were happening when, was very, very different. Because they had I think there were like 3 Hitalia panels, and 2 of them were on the same day. And I'm like, why do you have 2 Hitalia panels on the same day? And most of them were like Ask a Character panels. They didn't have nearly as many of those this year, thankfully. So it was just. I think it was partially a better I think a lot of the attendees applied for panels differently this year, or they at least tried to make them better. Or just we had better applications this year that got picked up, and the scheduling was a lot better with panels this year, I think.
Yeah, I really.
I'm just adding to what he was saying. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine.
That's fine. It was overall better.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay.
No, I totally agree with that, because last year there were a lot more people standing around in the hallway than actually attending panels. And I remember last year when we were doing panels and stuff, we had to actually go out into the hallway and like yell at people and be like, hey, come check out our panel, and try and drag people in. This year we didn't really have to do that. The only panel that we had that we didn't have a lot of people at was our 2 a.m. panel. And, you know, at like 2 a.m. there's not going to be a lot of people anyway. Like, most people are either...
They were all outside
with me.
Yeah, exactly. At 2 a.m., dude, everybody's going to be, like, outside or in a party, in a room or something. That most of the time they're not going to be wanting to attend panels. So, I mean, that's something that you have to learn by, like, doing it. I mean, this isn't, like, a slam on anybody that worked on scheduling and stuff. It's just one of those things, you know, when you're going to do 18 and out programming, just think of it almost kind of like Adult Swim. You guys can start at 10 o'clock, I think, is a reasonable time to start 18 and up panels. But like 2 a.m. is pretty late in the evening, and even people that would want to go to a panel like that aren't going to go, because they're either going to be asleep, hanging out with friends, or completely inebriated. That's the nicest way of putting it, right? Inebriated. I don't know what kind of.
That's actually a good way to put it. That's what I use usually.
What is the rating of this podcast? Just so I can be clear on what language I should use.
Oh, I don't know. It's our first one.
Because on the fairy tale,
I don't think we should drop F-bombs every 5 minutes. But
right. But I was just trying to say. I was just trying to find out if I could use other terms for describing intoxication, or if I'm going to have to keep using.
We're going to talk about
the party scene.
So people got shit-faced. Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
Okay, I can get away with saying that word. Cool. So it's at least PG-13. Okay, cool.
Right.
What was that said, honey?
No, I didn't say anything.
Okay.
I was just agreeing. That's the common terms, in my opinion.
Yeah, shit-faced.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we talked about the hotel. We talked about the cosplays. You guys good on those? Did you want to say anything else about the hotel?
I wish I could bring our Urza on because she actually was one of the co-hosts. She co-hosted the cosplay contest, but I've actually got to see it, and we put it up on our page. And I know you guys had the video in your blog about your blog review about AkaiCon. For anybody that hasn't seen it, please go and check it out and let them know what you guys think, and participate. This is only one half of a conversation. Let them know your thoughts and opinions as well. Get involved with the community. Be part of the geeky community.
Well, and that's another thing, that video was done by the fans' point of view, and they did a couple of other music videos that I thought were really, really good.
Oh no, I want to talk about that because I finally got to see the music video they were talking about. That one, the otaku video. Oh my god, that was so good.
The AkaiCon.
There was 3 videos that I saw.
No, we're talking about at AkaiCon. They did video contest.
They did AMV contest.
Yeah.
And the one that won the most awards, I actually checked out that AMV. Oh my god, it was amazing. I was really impressed with it. I can see why it won. I was really, really impressed.
Yeah.
Coming from somebody who does audio editing and video editing, God, I wish I had that kind of skill. Oh. I know how they did it. I just wish I could do it, you know?
Well, Jack.
Oh, I was just wondering if Sed might have seen that, because I know that he's very into the video scene as well.
I unfortunately missed out on those. I wasn't able to be there on that day. They were showing them off, so I missed that.
They're on YouTube.
They are on YouTube. You should go check them out for sure.
Okay, so I'm going to borrow him for a bit to just make some AMV promos for our show. Yeah.
You're just going to steal our camera guy? Thanks.
No, borrowing. I intend to return him. I just need him for a little while. Just a little while.
Slave labor.
No, not slave labor. Labor of love. Labor of love. We don't throw around nasty terms like that on our show.
Okay, so what else? Now, another thing that I really love, one that really makes a con for me is a really good dealer room. And I thought that the dealer room was really good. I realized that it was smaller than at some cons, but it was really set up well, and it had a good variety of stuff.
I will now commence with crying, because there were so many... There were so many fairy tale like swag things that were there that I couldn't buy because I have to save money for Dragon Con, and I was like, no.
I was really impressed with all the handmade stuff they had.
Yeah, there was a lot of really cool handmade stuff, like Pikachu over here.
Yeah, we got a Pikachu.
I got a Pikachu.
You got a Pikachu. I'm stealing it. It doesn't matter.
He's trying to steal Pikachu.
Totally stealing and wearing it on my head.
Right. Well, the reason why I normally was stressing, I would normally stress like the fairy tale stuff, is because it's actually really popular online, and there's like a huge love for the show, but you very hardly ever see fairy tale merchandise in most of the dealer rooms, and to just find a dealer that had a lot of different merchandise, and it wasn't the same stuff I'd continued to see over and over and over. And I was really excited about the Lucy, because that was the first time I'd actually seen a Lucy figurine or any fairy tale character figurine at a convention. So I was really, really impressed to see how much of a diversity there was besides the mainstay like Full Metal Alchemist and Dragon Ball Z.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, so it was just nice to see some of the anime, some of the other anime that have been gaining a lot more attention, slowly making it into there. Even at like major cons like AWA and places like that, it's been one of those things where I haven't really seen a lot of swag for certain shows that I love. Not to mention the fact that they had a No Game No Life shirt when that series is only a couple of months old and they already have merch for it. That's incredible. That's beyond incredible.
Yeah, I thought it was really good.
Really,
and you
really
could move
good.
In the dealer room.
Yeah, there was really space. Important. That was a good thing too.
There was, plenty of space for people to stop in the middle of the hallway and take a picture. It didn't bother anybody.
And not nearly as sweaty as most.
Yeah. But that was another thing too. I thought that the lines in the hallway was handled fairly well, considering how small of a space that it actually was.
Yeah, the lines moved well. You didn't feel like you were getting choked out in the hallways by the crowd. You could move where you wanted to go at any time of day. Even in the middle of the day on Saturday when it was just jam-packed full of people, it didn't feel jam-packed full of people because the flow worked really well.
Yeah, so a good, well-run con is important and will get me coming back, for me.
Yeah. And it felt safe, and that's a big deal.
Yeah. Because I know a lot of people were on the fan page talking about it was in a bad part of town, which... And we both grew up in a bad part of town. That was not a bad part of town.
No, that was nice.
But even if it was, there was always security within distance of you. So that was really handled well.
Most people who like live in certain areas of Nashville think that East Nashville is a bad part of town. I'm like, you haven't even been to a bad town yet. So, like it's right across from. It was right across from like the Titans practice training area. That's not in a bad town. They don't actually practice in like a bad neighborhood in town. So guys, y'all can calm down. For the people that were saying that, they can calm down about that. That was nowhere near a bad area of town.
Right. The Titans aren't going to send their players into a bad part of town.
Right.
Not intentionally.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Okay, so moving on to Jack's area here, I thought that the nightlife of this con was very nice. Like, it wasn't dead, but it wasn't GMX. It wasn't crazy.
There's
Not that GMX is crazy. GMX is amazing. I just want that out there real quick.
At the same time, GMX is more of an adult con, and AkaiCon is a little more all ages. So
that's what I wanted to touch on right there.
Yeah.
The thing about AkaiCon and really any anime con that I've been to is because the crowd primarily is a bit younger. Most of them cannot legally drink, and so the party scene's a little bit different. And you do tend to have less room parties, usually it's adult activities altogether. Really, usually the nightlife is geared towards the younger crowd. So the rave is there, and we still had that, which is a staple for an anime con. And we had, the cosplay burlesque, risque cosplay, yeah, which is 18 and up, which is cool because you see that in some bigger cons as part of the focus of the nightlife, and they do that early enough that it doesn't really interrupt the party scene. Typically, that kicks off around 11 at most cons that I've seen it at. So when you're partying and you're having a good time, you go, you see some attractive people doing some dancing. We're not going to go any further than that. And then you go right back to the party, and, you didn't really miss much usually. So I saw that they did that. They had some adult panels that were interesting. Just to keep things PG-13, I won't go into what they were.
Here's some interesting.
But they were there, and
What's that said?
Sorry, I was just saying some of those panels had interesting titles. And,
Did they? Interesting.
I didn't see any of them, but
no, because you would not go there, would you? Said.
I was curious.
You wanted, but I thought.
It would have been.
So I thought the nightlife was good.
The nightlife was nice. I think
nice.
I think
that's the theme of this whole con, was that it was just so nice.
Yeah, I mean, I've been to bigger cons. I've been to cons that had bigger nightlife, bigger party scene at night. But that's not necessarily bad that this one isn't big. Obviously, I don't want to see a bunch of 14 to 16-year-olds drunk in the courtyard. That's not okay with me. That's not safe. It's not legal. And I think that it not seeing that there was better than seeing a huge party like I do at some of these other cons. So that goes back to what I said about being safe. I was partying in the courtyard with a lot of people. We had hookahs out there. There were people dancing. There was music. There was pretty much anything you'd want in a pool party, which basically is what it ended up being, kind of a pool party. And we all had a good time, met new people. So I was pretty pleased with what I had going on there.
And speaking of the nightlife, so I went to the rave.
You did go to the rave.
I did go to the rave, and I never go to the rave.
Never, ever.
But I went to the rave, and so there was DJ Remedy and DJ Codytron, who they are just both absolutely fantastic and adorable.
You knew
really that was coming.
Yeah.
So it was a really good time, and I danced with Deadpool, and I danced with a photographer, and it was a really good time.
That's actually speaks of volumes for the quality of the rave.
It was a large enough area that it was not. You didn't have to be crowded by people. If you wanted to be crowded by people, you could move into the crowd, but you could also sort of stand back and be a wallflower, and it was still fun.
And I think the best part of that is I didn't see any ambulances at any point in the night, which that's usually a good sign that they kept it under control. So people were having a good time without getting hurt, and that's important to me. I don't want anybody to get hurt at a con. I think that's terrible. It's going to ruin your weekend. It's going to ruin your friend's weekend, and it gives the con a bad name. So it's necessary to have that safety factor in there to enjoy your experience, and I like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people really look forward to the rave, especially.
The other thing I did notice about this con, which was a little different, and I've been to a few that were, like I said, bigger. So obviously security is something that you might want to talk about. They didn't hassle us. When we were partying, we were having a good time.
Sometimes they were out there hanging out with us.
Yeah, they'd be out there hanging out with us as long as everybody's cool.
Health and safety. They're not security. They're health and safety, right?
Right, health and safety, which is actually, that's a good term because that's more what they're there for. Is to make sure that everybody's safe and having a good time without going crazy or getting arrested.
Right.
Also, it helped that they only had one person going through and trying to keep the hallways clear. There wasn't a lot of people like yelling, "Hey, get out of the hallway" and stuff like that, like you would normally get at most cons. So, I mean, just the overall security for the convention was just really, really well mannered, and you could tell.
Yeah, I think only one person yelled at me, and it was the same person that yelled at me at MTAC. So she may just be really loud. I don't know.
Yeah, right. Well, you gotta have loud people for those. You gotta have loud people for those. But a lot of the people they had on for staff really wanted to be there, and that I think makes a key difference. A lot of people are just like, by the second day, they're really already like so overstressed and kind of burned out and everything, and it's like, they don't mean to bite your head off, but it's just like the stress and the pressure. But it's like they were enjoying being there and working too.
They were.
So.
Saturday I went around and talked to a lot of the staff and the volunteers and made sure they got some sleep, and most of them were like, yeah, I got 3 hours, but it's cool, I'm ready to go. So they seemed really happy to be there still, so that's a big deal.
So what did you do during the nightlife? Because I know you have a kind of a different routine than most of the people I know that con at night.
I was only there for like Friday night, and I was trying to finish something up. I think I was trying to shoot some stuff even then, because I was only really there that Friday. I wasn't going to be there for the rest of the con. I guess I saw things. I didn't really do too much. I saw some people stumbling around. I don't know why, but I thought that was pretty funny. For the most part,
it me? It was me, wasn't it?
It might have been. Another guy was just laying down on the ground. You weren't. I don't think you were on the ground, were you? At any point?
No, I was not on the ground. Not this con.
No,
not this con.
Not that con. That's right. I think I just hung out at the game room though. At the very end of Friday night, I was just playing Rock Band with some people. They had a Smash Bros tournament going on at least for Friday, and that was pretty cool. Yeah, even then, it was maybe midnight already. There were still a lot of people just hanging out at the game room, which I guess shows how popular that worked out. So, I guess people when they were done with partying, they hung out at the game room. Good party or game room. I guess that's maybe that was what was going on.
Yeah, well, the game room was definitely a hit. Absolutely, people were having a blast in there.
Yeah, I can't really comment on the nightlife because we had a child with us, a little 11-year-old, so we weren't gonna go to the rave.
Well, that's actually a good point of view too, though. I mean, because of you guys having the 11-year-old, that's a good point of view for people who maybe want to take 11-year-old kids with them to next year's AkaiCon. So
I mean, she had a lot of fun, and that was one of the cool things. Is like it was her very first convention, and I honestly think this is, especially for anybody that this is their first time going to convention. This is a very good first time convention. You definitely don't want to go to like a giant con for your first convention. Don't throw somebody into Otakon for their very first con. That's like throwing somebody in the deep end and being like, hey, swim. But, before they've even figured out, hey, you should paddle your arms to stay afloat and kick your feet. But this was definitely a very good first-year con. And, I mean, because of where the hotel was situated in Nashville, it made it really, really easy to have other options. And I know there were other panels and things that we could have gone to, but like there were other options to do just outside of the convention itself if you didn't particularly want to go to the rave. Because we had the 11-year-old, we went to a movie theater, we watched Guardians of the Galaxy. That was a lot of fun and everything. But it gave us a chance to go and do something with an 11-year-old with us and still, be able to come back and enjoy the rest of the convention, even though most of us passed out afterwards because we were like dead tired. But it was a very good con for us for like the younger fans to go to and enjoy. And the guests were really nice, and the staff was very nice, and she got to go to a lot of panels, and her favorite thing was to actually go and take pictures of all the different cosplayers and people that she met. And she had a lot of time she had a lot of fun just spending time with like a lot of the people there and kind of immersing herself into the culture. And big shout out to the attendees that were there for being like really, really warm and welcoming and accepting, because the more she learned, the more she wanted to do it, and she came out definitely a huge fangirl from this experience. She really loved the convention. So, she just recently made a Facebook, and most of the Facebook friends she has on there are people that she met at the con and got their contact info, so that was really, really cool for her. So she had a blast, and she can't wait to go back and do it again. And she's like, I gotta wait a whole year. That was basically her only gripe about that, is like she has to wait another year to go again. And I'm like, well, next time we have a nice Nashville con, we'll go to it. Definitely not taking her to GMX. It's more of a not 11-year-old convention. But I mean, there are other conventions in and around the Nashville area that we could take her to. But she definitely had a lot of fun, and there was a lot to do. So the only issue that I think they had, as far as like, and this wasn't even an issue for like her age or anything, it was just because there was such a huge line for the cosplay contest that they didn't make it in, and that was one of the things she really wanted to see, that she wasn't able to, and that's just more because everybody was trying to go to the cosplay contest. So I mean, if they do. That happens.
Yeah, I do too. I feel like the cosplay contest is the most popular event.
Yeah, it's because cosplay has become like this huge thing as well. But I mean, that was something that she really, really wanted to check out, and she was like, "Man, we didn't make it." And I was like, "Well, there's next year. If they end up at a different hotel, maybe they'll have a room that's much bigger." I would definitely like the only complaint I'd have as far as like rooming situations for panel rooms and stuff like that. I'd like it if they had 2 main events rooms. Like that way you had like a bigger room where like if you're you've got your guests doing like a Q&A, and then you can also have your cosplay contest going on at the same time. But I mean, aside from that, that's the only issue I could probably bring up, is if they had another space that was about as big as the ballroom that they could use, but that would require them to be, I guess, in another hotel.
Yeah, I think that's going to come with growth, and I think most of the issues that I've heard anybody complain about weren't really complaints about anything that happened. It just had to do with the growth of the con. It's only in its second year, and for
it
second
grew
year con,
exponentially for its second year too.
It's amazing how big it's gotten in a second year con, and to still run and to grow that much and still run smooth is quite impressive to me.
Oh yeah,
I've seen people that have run cons for 10 years. And
still manage to screw it up.
And they get a growth spurt in the con, and then suddenly they can't handle it anymore, and it falls apart. And that's how cons die.
I also think that's another reason why that happened, is because they were able, like a lot of their staff that they have on hand have worked with other cons like that you're talking about, or have worked for the bigger cons, so they're kind of used to that. So for them, it's a lot more relaxing because they don't have to deal with nearly as many attendees. But at the same time, for a second-year con to have this many people and to have run as efficiently as it did, especially with double the attendance that they had from the previous year, because they doubled their attendance from their first year.
Yeah, and you can't anticipate that.
Yeah, you really can't. I was asking how it was going, and Devin, the con chair, was like, "Dude, we're gonna run out of badges if this keeps up." And I was like, "Well, that's a good thing, right?"
Right.
He's like, "It's totally a good thing, but like we're about to run out of badges, and oh my God, it's just Friday." And I'm like, "Oh, that just shows you how well received the first year was." As well.
By opening ceremony,
they were 50 badges short of selling as many as they had the year before for the whole weekend.
Yeah.
Wow. That's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's absolutely huge.
Which is great. I'm super excited. I'm glad that Nashville has a new anime con with that much energy that this one has.
I also love the running joke that started from opening ceremonies.
If you have a gold Hyundai.
If you have a gold Hyundai parked
just one more thing. If you have a gold Hyundai.
We're gonna have to tow your car.
A Coral Saturn.
A Coral Saturn.
It was cool.
I mean, I feel we do need to kind of bring that up, though, is like that. We weren't the only ones at the hotel. We had we had a pro NFL team at the hotel as well. We were sharing space with the Tennessee Titans, who for the most part
cross genre.
Oh, there was also a bachelorette party.
There was a bachelorette party outside. They were doing amazing duck face selfies. It was adorable.
Oh yeah, they were doing it. They were rocking it out.
It was great.
Looking at all us like, what are you doing?
We were weird.
Yeah.
But the other thing was I found out that was really funny, and didn't find out until just a couple of days ago. Turns out one of the guys, one of the players actually bought a badge so he could go in and check everything out.
Really?
So yeah, one of the Tennessee Titans really actually bought a badge and came down and checked out the con and enjoyed it with everybody. So that's really, really cool. When you've got because there were people that were kind of like, you're going to get those people that look at us, look at all the cosplayers and everything that's going on. They're like, I don't know, that seems kind of weird. But then you have the opposite to make up for it, and they're like, "Oh my God, you're doing all this stuff! I know who you are!" And they get really excited when they recognize people's cosplays, and I love that. They're like, "Oh my God, I didn't know that was going on! This is awesome! I'm gonna go downstairs and buy a badge." And he did.
One of my favorite things to do at a con is to leave the con and go get lunch somewhere in town in cosplay. Just see what happens, and it's always really well received.
I don't remember.
Usually, unless I have something creepy on walking beside you.
Right, well, we can't go eat with your open zombie wounds.
Well, it's kind of gross.
Yeah. I think the funniest story I've got from it was one of the MTACs that we were at. It was back when they were still at the Sheraton, but we were in all of our Naruto cosplays and stuff. And back when they have it around Easter, or at least I think they still do, right? Still have it around Easter. But we came back from there, and our friend Brad was dressed up as Jiraiya, and we went into a Dollar General to get some stuff because we had to go to my house, which at the time was like about 10 minutes away from the convention. So everybody was half of the crew was crashed at my house. And we were going to record something, I don't remember, but like we were at the checkout, and the checkout lady looked up and saw all of us, and she looked over at Brad, and she goes, "That is the ugliest Easter bunny I've ever seen." And we just fell on the floor laughing. And so that became a staple. Every time we see him, we're like, "Hey there, ugly Easter bunny." And we said it on the show, so all the fans started calling him the ugly Easter bunny. It was like sometimes, man, when you go out to the public places in cosplay, you will come back with the best stories. So I think that should become a segment, though, like that you can poll your audience about what is the best story you have from going out into public during a con in cosplay. What are some of the funniest?
That would be great.
Sed, did you have anything else you wanted to talk about with the AkaiCon, sweetie?
I guess we're talking about side notes about negative stuff. I'm not complaining, but I guess the parking situation was a little confusing. But I think that is just because the size again. Well,
they had all that reserved parking, which I guess was for the Titans. I'm not sure.
I think that's what that probably was.
But then they blocked off the whole side of the road and had like cones and stuff, and I think that eventually sort of helped out.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure what that was. If I'd imagine, maybe they were saving parking for their actual other customers. Maybe
that's true. Actual hotel guests, probably. But again, that's another thing where the size of the con just grew so fast. How can you plan for that?
You can't.
Yeah.
You can't plan for that. And the thing is I did notice that big section of parking lot blocked off, and it was one of my first questions: is why why is all this space being wasted? Because 90% of the time there were no cars there. So seeing that did make me question, what's the hotel doing? Because I knew it wasn't the con; it was the hotel. Why are they blocking this off when it's not being used? So I understand what you're saying about the parking, and I think that that's a valid concern, but I also don't really see any way they could have handled that any better than they did with what they had space-wise. There wasn't any available parking outside of parking on the side of the road where they put those cones, so I think they handled it the best they could. I think they did well with what they had to work.
That's down the hill.
Yeah.
I guess they didn't do that this year because I called, but I think people just got creative with their parking. That's what I had to do.
Yeah, but nobody got towed, so that's good.
Yeah.
Nobody ended up getting towed.
Nobody got towed. I saw plenty of people parking in the grass or on like the side of the street just out of the way. And there was a long line. Somebody took a picture of it, like this giant line of parked cars on the grass that were there for AkaiCon. So that was definitely proof that they had a lot of attendance this year.
Okay, are there any other cons of this con? There was a couple of things, but I think mostly it was really handled well.
So, absolute pros for this con?
Absolute pros, things that would sell somebody on this con. If you are going for panels, this is a good con for panels. If you're going we didn't touch on guests, which is one of the things that I want to talk to Richie about.
Oh, absolutely.
Chuck Huber.
Chuck Huber was there.
Chuck was so fun. He's so funny. But no, there were a lot of really good guests there. Except for like this one podcast group, they were horrible. But
yeah, I know. What a bunch of jerks.
Yeah, you couldn't hang out with them or nothing. Such elitists. Obviously, I'm talking about us, and I should know. No. As far as panels and stuff, because that's what we were basically there for. We were guest panelists, and we covered a little bit of press stuff by having them on early to talk about what events they had and kind of help do some pre-promotion for the convention, and then kind of reviewing the con that Monday night after. It was a lot of that was more or less our kind of press stuff. But I mean, the panels we ran were really, really smooth. Did really, really well. I mean, it helps that we kind of had like a game plan and everything kind of set up for how we were going to run the show. We kind of knew how things were going to go, and anything that happened last minute, we were able to it was like minor stuff that wasn't that worrisome. And I was like, dude, just let it go. We should
definitely mention that the fairy tale panel did not have they didn't spring spoilers on us. They let us know when they were moving on.
They warned us and let us leave the room. It was nice because I am not caught up with
that was a good idea.
The after the 7-year break. I'm not caught up with that. And so they warned us, and I was good. I got out of the room. I didn't get spoiled.
I just wanted a bacon cheeseburger.
And they just announced the dub cast list yesterday at Otakon for Sabretooth. And so I believe it's Matt from Achievement Hunter from Rooster Teeth is actually going to be Sting. So that's really cool. Yeah.
I'm super excited.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that are super excited about that. And he announced it on his Twitter, and we retweeted it, and then we got a bunch of messages on Facebook because we didn't post it on Facebook. We were just talking about it on Twitter. And apparently the people that do not follow us on Twitter, shame on you, started messaging me on Facebook and were like, hey, have you guys seen this? And I'm like, yeah, we've seen it. Here, check our Twitter feed, blah, 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 blah. But yeah.
I think Sed's back.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun doing the panels. My favorite was actually the manga panel. Really, really loved that. I didn't get a chance to go to any other panels all that much because like once we got done with ours, it was basically okay. Let's continue on with the adventures of Wendy and how did she enjoy the convention. It's kind of like it was actually really, really refreshing because I've been going to so many conventions lately. It's kind of like getting to see it through her eyes for the very first time. So that was kind of what I wanted to do. Yeah, even though it wasn't around very much.
Yeah. Well, I think that AkaiCon is a really good con. Yeah, like you said, for a first con, maybe that's a good one.
Definitely.
It's good for, of course, anime people that are super interested in voice actors and those kind of celebrities. It was good for panels. The nightlife was good. It was nice.
It was nice. It wasn't crazy.
Right. I think Jack gave
nice.
the con. You gave the con an 8, right?
I'm gonna say overall for me, overall the con was about an 8. And honestly, the 2 points I had to knock off isn't even really their fault. It's just because I like the party. Yeah. I like a little bit more of a party scene. I like a room block worth of parties with a lot of people and a lot of crazy things going on. And I understand why that can't be at an anime con.
Yeah.
So and also size, which is for a second-year con, it was huge.
That's what she said.
Yeah, that's right. But
I'm sorry.
But the thing is as it gets bigger, I think it's going to grow into that 10.
That is also what she said.
Yes, absolutely.
Sed, would you care to try and rate the con on a scale of 1 to 10 overall, AkaiCon 2014?
I would say 7.5 out of 10.
Nice. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. Richie?
I'll leave it at that.
Man, because now that I'm thinking about it, I'm comparing it to a lot of the other cons I've been going to, because I've gone to, like, New York Comic Con, Otakon, Anime Expo, and I'm just like, okay, it's because I've gone to those cons that I would give this an 8.5 rating, because I've been to, like, those really big, like even if it's not, like, the party scene time, you still got that kind of energy going on in the middle of the day from those, because they're the bigger cons, and you can still have a moment where you can step outside and have a conversation with like just a couple of people, so you get like that kind of small camaraderie thing going on even at some of the bigger cons. But all of that was kind of accessible here. It just the energy from those cons is a little bit different, but that's something that'll happen as time goes on and the convention it grows in attendance. Haha. I'm picking my words, so you can't say that's what she said. Yeah. Anyway, hey. Well, yeah, I have a 2.5 hour show that is nothing but that's what she said jokes. I am used to this. But
I think the overall theme of AkaiCon was it's just nice. Everything was nice.
it really was. It was really, really nice. It was definitely a really, really fun. Just kind of. I wouldn't say it was necessarily innocent, but that was probably because I was hanging around with Cody and Gavin a little too much. But yeah, it was definitely kind of a fun and youthful convention. Definitely,
it was. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And I give it an 8.5 out of 10. There you go. That's my rating.
Okay.
Fantastic. And what about you?
Oh man. See, now I haven't been to that many cons. GMX Volume 4 was my first.
That's true.
Then I've been to 2 MTACs, another GMX, Con Nuga. So I haven't been to that many, and I don't do anime cons very much. But I do go for the social aspect. I go for the connections with other geeks and the sort of idea sharing and stuff like that.
Right.
And so for that, just for the social aspect of this con, I'm gonna give it an 8.5 too. Like,
yeah,
it was really good.
Yeah, it was really nice. It was comfortable and safe. I met lots of people. I've made lots of new friends off of this convention.
Took them home, kept them.
Yeah, kept them. Put them in a little box, save them for later. It's nice. No, that sounded really creepy.
Heat them up later in the microwave. So overall, it was a good con, AkaiCon 2014. I'm excited for Pirates next year.
Oh wow, did they do that just for us?
Already.
I mean,
they did it just for NGL.
Yeah, because I run the Pirate Pub Crawl, and I think they heard about that. They said, you know what, we want Jack back.
So AkaiCon staff and con chairs, you can totally come to the pub crawl with us.
Yeah, promo your con at my pub crawl. I'm good with it. Come on out. We want to.
Also, we did ask just to see if we could pull it off, and they did say that even though the theme is pirates, you could technically get away with Wind Waker cosplay. That technically counts.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yes, let's do Wind Waker. Yeah. So we may have some Wind Waker cosplays going on. I was like, yes, finally. And Elfman was so happy because now I can cosplay Ganondorf. So he's been looking forward to that.
All right. Okay, so that's AkaiCon. We gave it a solid, rounded up to an 8.
So an 8.
Rounded up to an 8. AkaiCon got a solid 8. And all right. Did you guys have anything else?
Parting words.
I guess sometime in the near future, I'll be putting a video out. The thing I was working on at AkaiCon. So check out Nashville Geek Life for that. Check that out. NashvilleGeekLife.com. Check it out. That's where all the fun stuff is happening.
And since
we're working.
And since I'll be pushing this, I'll be putting this video up on all of our social media for all of our fans that watch and listen to us. Come in and drop some comments off so that they can actually see what you think. Let them know what you thought about not just AkaiCon, but if you were there, definitely share your thoughts and opinions about AkaiCon. Let us know what parts you enjoyed most. If you don't know anything about AkaiCon, just let us know what you thought of the show in general. The only way they could possibly make it better is by your feedback to help them improve. So guys, come in, show your love, show your support, and help out this awesome show. And give them lots of likes. And subscribe. Please subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. Yeah.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter.
All
of their social media, which they can post in the description as soon as it goes up on YouTube again.
Okay, so the next event that we're going to be doing is the NGL Dragon Con PvP Party. So for those of us, not Richie, who are not going to Dragon Con, are going to stay behind. So check out NashvilleGeekLife.com for info on that. And, all right, thanks, guys. I really appreciate it. And that's the AkaiCon wrap-up.
Yep. Bye, guys.
Bye.